She composes a jazz mass. Reading this headline 18 years ago changed my own career trajectory. That was the year that Dr. Billy Taylor invited me to perform at the Kennedy Center's Mary Lou Williams Festival. Now, I didn't know much at the time about Mary Lou Williams' music, I'm ashamed to say, so I took it upon myself to start learning pretty quickly. I visited the Institute of Jazz Studies at Rutgers, where her archives are held, and there I read this headline. At the time, I had just moved to New York as a freelance jazz pianist with a full-time church music job, and I had written 2 of my own jazz masses. Now with Mary Lou as my mentor, I began to book my trio in churches around the country, doing my own sacred music. To date, we've performed in 95 churches across the country, and the 2 musical constants that we always use are the core trio and a singing congregation, often a choir. Here's an example I just worked with a 900-voice choir at St. Olaf College in November. My 2020-21 concert/book tour, Mary Lou Williams, Music for the Soul, will again bring together my trio, but this time with local community choirs, in a program that features Williams' third mass called Music for Peace, or also known as Mary Lou's Mass, alongside excerpts of my own evening mass. Because I'll also have a book coming out on Mary Lou Williams at the same time, I'll offer a pre-concert talk on Williams' life and her spirituality. Now, Mary Lou said that the purpose of her third mass was to bring people together in love, and she always said, jazz is healing to the soul. So our tour tagline is swinging sacred jazz to heal the mind, body, and spirit. My main goal is to sell 85% of the seats at each venue. Now, this is attainable because of who our audiences are. We're going to reach beyond just the diehard jazzers like all of us in this room, to contemporary choral music fans of groups like Take 6, as well as groups like new music groups, The Crossing. And we'll be highlighting a key piece of the sacred choral repertoire that is overlooked and that these audiences are going to want to know. We'll also target readers of my book. If I go back to this last slide here, my book's going to be printed in this series by a Catholic publisher called Liturgical Press, and it's a series that's meant for the general reader who wants to know about Catholics who led extraordinary lives, and that's a big part of Mary Lou's story. So these people who read my book won't necessarily be jazz musicians who read Linda Dahl's biography on Williams and know everything about her. We're going to reach people who will know nothing about Williams potentially, but after they read the book, the hope is that they'll be curious about listening to her music. One specific audience. So I was just in Pittsburgh last month, and I was doing a keynote speaking and performing presentation at the University of Pittsburgh on Williams' sacred music. And I learned a lot there about who my audience is going to be when we return there in March 2021 at a large church to do this performance. So our audience will be people who listen to the great new 24/7 jazz station in Pittsburgh, WZUM. As well as people who attend different concert series at churches. And I also went and talked with music directors of various African American Catholic churches who are interested in the concert. Also, students at the Afro-American Music Institute. We will be creating a choir with students from this institute, as well as with university students from Pitt, from Duquesne, and from local church choirs. So we're going to really bring the community together, just as Williams wanted to happen in her music. So I've touched on some of this already, but I plan to definitely leverage the publicity and the momentum that I'm getting in Pittsburgh. I mean, I live here, but I'm going back to Pittsburgh in June. I got invited back just from this presentation at the university. I'll be there doing a 3-day workshop on Williams sacred music for the Catholic diocese. So I already have an interview set up in June with classical WQED, as well as with a local Catholic paper called the Pittsburgh Catholic. And then my trio will be back in September of next year performing at East Liberty Presbyterian. East Liberty was where Mary Lou grew up, performing on their concert series there. And I plan to ask them if they will send out an e-blast for the concert at, I can't say the venue because it's 90% confirmed yet, if East Liberty Pres will send out an e-blast to their subscribers for our concert and vice versa. So I will definitely be using video, making a 2 to 3 minute promo video on my backstory with Mary Lou. This is pre-existing material on my website. I have a whole page on Mary Lou, along with a sample program from a similar concert we did a couple years ago, and it also has audio clips. Also with social media, I have a monthly email newsletter, 1,800 subscribers, that's broken down into various cities, and including one that's specifically on people who bought my last record, which was all jazz arrangements of traditional hymn tunes. I'll use other organizations' email newsletters. You can see some of those there. And we'll continue to post blog posts on Williams. My publisher will also partner with me in listing the tour in their quarterly catalog, as well as at conferences where they exhibit. And here's what the $1,000 will cover. Basically, a social media consultant to help generate keywords for Facebook ads, and a general assistant just for 20 hours of work. So thank you so much for helping me to spread the word about Mary Lou Williams, Music for the Soul.
Thanks, Deanna.